When Chris Hayes said to you, "Can you look me in the eye?" What was going through your mind?
Well, first of all, let me just say that the only reason I was on the show was because Susan refused to go on without me, right?
Right.
Which was one of the most noble things that anyone's ever done. She was like, no, you reinstate Josh or forget it, And we were there to talk about Dakota Access Pipeline. So it was a weird moment. Like, he said, look me in the eye, and what did he ask? Tell me if I thought Trump's presidency was going to be this bad. Well, I think the weird thing in that moment was, I
thought I heard you say under your breath when he asked you that question, I thought I heard you say, that's insane. Like, that's an insane question.
Yeah, that's insane. I said that they're insane, I think. The Trump administration is insane, which they are. And I also think that the logic of bringing a incredible cultural icon like Susan Sarandon on, because your ratings are failing, because you're going to attack her for being a principled individual, is just disgusting. I found it, like, the whole episode, like, we left there and we did feel really slimy. We left there and we felt like I just was like, oh my God, what happened? Just what was that? Because the truth of the matter is, like, we went to talk about Dakota Access Pipeline. Dakota Access Pipeline is fucking important. And we went there to talk about that.
I know.
And when we got there, I went into makeup, and Susan was already made up. So the producers started to talk to Susan and said, oh, well, we're going to lead with the last time you were on. We're going to run that interview. And I just went, oh, my God. And I came back out of makeup 3 minutes later, and, Susan's got this look in her eye like, I don't know, this isn't going to be good. And we just felt sneak attacked, because really the reason why I was on was to talk about Dakota Access Pipeline, which I felt qualified to talk about. And, I think if you took the money, which Chris Hayes certainly did, took the money, if you were Rachel Maddow and you took the money, the $2,500 a minute, to promote Hillary Clinton, then it is time for you to quit, to do some real soul searching, to walk the earth and see what damage you have wrought. Because the truth of the matter is, don't blame me. I voted for Bernie. Bernie would have won. To actually turn the conversation around and say that it was somehow our fault, when it was clear what we were saying from the very beginning was that Hillary Clinton was a flawed candidate. No one liked Hillary Clinton. Clinton's policies were awful. Hillary Clinton was uninspiring. Hillary Clinton stood for the fracking industry, the corporations, the big banks, you name it. To turn that around on us and say, and by the way, I also went out and told people to vote for Hillary Clinton. I was not a Jill Stein person. I do not like Jill Stein. I'm not, and I will talk to you about that on another occasion, perhaps. But the truth of the matter is that to go ahead and do that is kind of one of the most smarmiest and weirdest and most backwards ass fucked up things I've ever witnessed. And to do that, to justify your own ability to take $2,500 a minute so you can talk about the news is these are one of those things that I think if you want to look at who's to blame for Donald Trump, look no further than the people who ran a very, very bad, very, very lame, incredibly awful losing campaign, and all of their supporters.
And maybe the progressive media channel that gave more time to an empty podium of Donald Trump than it did to the progressive candidate.
Absolutely. So and now they're trying to make up for it. But I'll tell you this. I had an anonymous, or not an anonymous, but I can't tell you their name. I had one of the people from one of those shows, it was Maddow or Hayes or one of them, come up to me and said, well, if she had won, we would have lost our jobs.
Wait, you mean if Hillary would have won, they would have lost their jobs?
Yeah, for sure. They would have been canceled.
Because there was no ratings, right?
Yep.
And so this is the biggest boon to their, and that's why Rachel did a half hour on that stupid tax document that turned out to be Al Capone's vault. And that's why she did that. The difference between Al Capone's vault and Rachel Maddow's tax story was that Al Capone didn't mail.
Geraldo Rivera is slightly more charming.
Yeah, and Al Capone didn't mail his vault to Geraldo Rivera.
Grating.
It was fucking unbelievable.
Less grating and annoying than Rachel Maddow.
So you knew.
Well, I mean, it was funny because I was complaining really a lot during that time when I couldn't get on to promote How to Let Go of the World and Love All the Things Climate Can't Change, which is my best movie, bar none. You know what I mean? Except for the new one. You should watch the new one. But like the point is that I ran into Chris at the DNC.
That's where I saw him, yeah.
One of those nights at the bar. And it was late at night. It was like 2 o'clock in the morning, and everyone was pretty blasted. And he came up to me all apologetic, like, it wasn't a blacklist. It wasn't. Josh, there's no blacklist. There's none of that. And I was like, I had a couple drinks in me, and I just said, okay, all right. I'm not interested in talking about this right now, Chris. Not going to talk about it. Don't want to talk about it. And that was the only time I've seen him socially. We have an appointment that we're supposed to have lunch. So and maybe after he sees this interview, he won't want to have lunch with me anymore. But come on, Chris, if you're that thin-skinned, then don't. I mean, look, we have to be able to have disagreements in the open, in the media. We're people in the media, and you have to be able to take it because you have to stand behind the things that you have done. And if you took all that money promoting the Hillary Clinton campaign for that long, I think it's time to take a little internal, little stock.
I think it's fine, Josh. I think it's fine to have disagreements. I think you're correct, but I think what's not okay is what he did to you and Susan Sarandon. I think what that wasn't having a disagreement. That was a guy manipulating. That was a guy manufacturing consent. That's exactly what that was. Yeah. That was him trying to make everybody take their eye off the ball about what's really wrong with this country and somehow funnel all their anger towards an actress and an activist. And that's why Chris Hayes has zero integrity. He somehow, when you get $30,000 a day, it takes that shame mechanism in your brain and it disconnects it, just like a fucking right-winger. The way they're born, it takes $30,000 a day from Comcast to do that to a left-winger. But it's been done. And Chris Hayes does not have a shred of integrity. Because as soon as he asked that question, and Rachel Maddow said, and Susan Sarandon said back to him, what is the point of that question? His response was, I'm just asking. Which just goes to show you, it just revealed.
Well, I don't know. I think at a certain point in time, that channel had a lot of integrity, and I don't think it's there anymore.
No, it's gone.
I think at a certain point in time, there was hope for the Democratic Party. But look, Bernie Sanders versus Hillary Clinton was a referendum on what the Democratic Party should be going forward, whether it's the party of Franklin Delano Roosevelt, the party of the people, the party of Social Security, the party of justice, the party of caring for the working class and common people, or the party of triangulation, the crime bill. Bill Clinton and Hillary Clinton created the Republicrats. That's how they beat the Reagan-Bush ticket in 1992, but it did an enormous amount of damage to the Democratic Party, and the Democratic Party became neoliberal from that moment on, and it had lasting effects. And I think the corporate creep into the Democratic Party went on and on and on and on, and it got us to a point where even Barack Obama, who was supposed to be this grassroots guy, became the party of the 1%, and now he's parasailing in the Virgin Islands with Richard Branson, and he ain't coming back. And what we have is a constitutional crisis in America. We have a constitutional crisis. We have an electoral college that has installed right-wingers twice in the last 16 years. We have serious problems with despotism and authoritarianism on the rise, racism, blatant racism in our streets, a police force that is militarizing and out of control, an economy that only serves the very, very few and the wealthy, and all of our social contract deteriorating in front of our face. We definitely have a need for a constitutional convention and a reform of the American system in a big way. And I think that whether that means we build a new party for Bernie or we start to talk about how we're going to really revamp. We have to start winning elections. We have to start winning elections from the progressive point of view, and obviously the Democrats are not doing that for us or with us.
All right, everybody, check out your new film. Thanks so much for, there's links to everything below. Josh, thanks for taking time. We'll talk to you soon.
Thanks, Jimmy. It's great to be with you again.
Everybody, the next live Jimmy Dore show is April 3rd in Hollywood. There's only 50 tickets for that show, so get them quick. Our show after that is April 24th. That's in Burbank. Links for tickets right there. Get your tickets fast. Sell out quick.